Good morning, everyone, and good morning from Vietnam. Welcome to HSC today, and welcome to our seminar, Vietnam Key Investment Themes and Stock Selection. Today, we will together discover the investment opportunities in Vietnam in 2025 and 2026. And before we get started, let me introduce our speakers. My name is Phú Nguyen. I am an account manager at HSC. I have 7 years of experience in investment advisory and also get certified by the CFI as a financial planner and wealth management professional. Joined with me today is Mr. Tin Vo, wealth manager at HSC. He has over 10 years of experience in investment advisory, and he is also an expert in banking sector. He will guide us through the banking sector section and the monetary policy. And finally, our special guest, Mr. Tung Dao, investment analysis and advisory manager. He is also an expert with several years of experience in investment advisory, and he will join us in the Q&A section and help us to answer all of your questions. So now let's get started. My presentation today will include 3 main sections. The first section is the key investment themes and recommendations. I will talk about the public investment and government spending. Next, I will talk about the new trading system and potential market upgrade. And then I'll talk about and then Mr. Tin Vo will talk about the expansionary monetary policy and banking sector. Lastly, I will give you some other recommendations. Let's go straight into the point. Let's talk about the public investment. So in 2025, the Vietnam government targets 8% of GDP growth and double-digit growth in the next 5 years. That is a very ambitious target. And how can Vietnam achieve that target? So we all know that Vietnam is an export-driven economy. And during the last 10 years, Vietnam average GDP growth was just 6.8 to 7.2%. So how can Vietnam achieve 8% in 2025, especially when the global trade is being so volatile and so uncertain during the Trump presidency? We know that Vietnam is very fragile and likely to be imposed some tariffs from Trump, right? And the trade and commercial activities of Vietnam may not be solid in this year. And we will talk about that during the Q&A section. But how can Vietnam achieve that ambitious target? So in 2025, Vietnam government decided to not rely on external factor, not rely on exports anymore. So Vietnam government decided to boost the internal demand of the country through the public investment. So a record high public investment budget of $31 billion, which is equivalent to 6.4% of GDP, was allocated for 2025. And this record high public investment budget is allocated to transportation infrastructure. And I will talk about that in the next slide. And then let's look at the second graph here. We can see that Vietnam has a lot of room to improve, to increase the public investment, because currently Vietnam public debt to GDP ratio is currently quite low, providing an ample opportunity for the government to enhance the public investment via issuing new debt. So here is the ceiling, the limit of the public debt on GDP ratio. It is it is 65%, and the current debt to GDP ratio is only 37%. So Vietnam has a lot of room to borrow, to issue new debt and finance the public investment infrastructures. Okay, next slide. So let's look at the transportation infrastructure of Vietnam. This is the Vietnam's expressway map. So in the last 10 years, Vietnam successfully built 2,100 kilometers of expressway. But in solely this year, in 2025, Vietnam plans to build 1,200 new kilometers of expressway. So it's 50% of the existing expressway that Vietnam has successfully built in the last 10 years. So you can imagine how much Vietnam is spending on the transportation infrastructure. And after the completion of these expressway, Vietnam will have a robust transportation system that connects the whole country from the north to the south and improve the logistic, transportation, tourism, and other industrial activities. Moreover, Vietnam will connect with China through this expressway system, and the transportation of goods from the south and the middle of Vietnam to China, which is Vietnam's second largest export market and the largest import market. So China is a very important trade partner of Vietnam. And after the completion of this expressway system, the trade activities between Vietnam and China will improve. And in the next 3 or 5 years, Vietnam also plans to build a high-speed railway system from the south to the north to connect with China, to improve the trade activity with China. And also, if we look at the green star here in the south of Vietnam, it is the Long Thanh International Airport, which is a 16 billion project. It's the largest airport of Vietnam, and it is being built on time. So after the completion of all these projects, the transportation system in Vietnam will improve a lot, and it will have a giant leap forward to create the momentum for a double-digit growth cycle in the next 5 years. So let's talk about the beneficiaries of public investment. We firmly believe that the construction material, construction, and banking sectors will benefit from public investment. And we recommend the market leader in each sectors who have strong competitive advantages and the advantages in bidding for key projects, and also have strong financial health and good company management. So we recommend buying HPG Hòa Phát Group. We also recommend buying the state-owned bank, and we prefer CTG Vietinbank. We also think that the industrial parks and residential real estate will benefit eventually when the transportation system nearly complete. So we recommend buying IDC Ideco Corporation and NLG Nam Long Investment Corporation. And lastly, we recommend buying the energy infrastructure and oil and gas company, PVS, Petro Vietnam Technical Services. And among these 5 names, I want to highlight, I want to stress out HPG and PVS. So let's talk about HPG first. Beside benefiting from the public investment projects, HPG also has a lot of midterm and long-term catalysts for growth. HPG is now benefiting from several tariffs and several anti-dumping duties from Vietnam and other trade partners. In February, the US government imposed 25% tariffs on all steel products that imported to the United States. So now HPG products is competing equally with the products of the US allies. And that creates a huge price competitiveness for HPG. And also, HPG is also benefiting from Vietnam and European Union anti-dumping duties on the hot rolled coil imported from Vietnam, from China and India. So the European Union is imposing an anti-dumping duty on China's products and Vietnam products, except for HPG. So it has a lot of near-term catalysts to growth, and it also has a short-term catalyst that I will talk about that in the next section. And the second name is PVS. I want to say that PVS is a hidden gemstone, because when people talk about public investment, people only talk about the investment in transportation infrastructure. But how about energy infrastructure, right? We all know that Vietnam is short on electricity. For every 1% of GDP growth, Vietnam needs 2% of electricity consumption. So electricity consumption is growing twice as much as the GDP growth. So if Vietnam is targeting 8% to 10% GDP growth in the next 5 or 6 years, Vietnam will need 20% of electricity growth. So Vietnam must invest in the energy infrastructure. That will be very solid. So now Vietnam is building. Vietnam is building national project that is the Block B Ô Môn thermal gas plant in the south of Vietnam, and PVS is the early winner in that project. Last but not least, PVS is the market leader in the wind, the offshore wind energy. So it has already secured some huge projects, which worth $4 billion in the next 5 years. And the total potential projects of PVS may hit $8 billion in the next 5 years. So it is equal to the investment of the whole system of infrastructure, of transportation infrastructure of Vietnam. So we strongly recommend buying PVS. All right, so that wraps up my first section on public investment. And we have spent around 20 minutes on the first. So the second section will be very concise. I will talk about the new trading system, KRX, and the potential market upgrade. So if you are a foreign investor or if you are new to Vietnam stock market, you must be wondering, what is KRX? what exactly is KRX? Why is it important? Why is it a key investment theme this year? So KRX is a modern exchange system developed by the Korean Stock Exchange, and this system is very modern. It is designed to execute trading orders more accurately, more quickly, and more securely. So when KRX is launched, Vietnam stock market trading volume is expected to increase significantly, and also it will introduce some new financial products, such as the option on index or the new future contracts, and shorten the payment cycle, the payment period. So now the payment period is 2.5 days, and it is expected to be shortened to 2 days, and then 0 day in the near future. KRX is expected to go live on May 2025. Well, actually, it's not expected. It is 99% to launch on May. And after the launching of KRX in September 2025, FTSE will upgrade the Vietnam stock market to emerging market. And then in 2026, Vietnam stock market is probably added to the MSCI watch list for emerging markets. And by the end of next year, Vietnam stock market is expected to be upgraded to MSCI emerging market. So how will these events affect the Vietnam stock market? Firstly, we think that the trading volume of the stock market will increase. And secondly, we think that the reputation of Vietnam stock market will also improve, and that will attract some new FII capital flow of foreign investors into Vietnam stock market. So in 2025 and 2026, we recommend buying the broker companies. We recommend buying HCM and SSI for their largest market share in foreign institutional transactions, and so recommend buying HPG because when the market is upgraded to emerging market, HPG will benefit from the capital flow of the new capital flow of foreign investors, because currently HPG account for a large percentage of the ETFs in Vietnam. So if the foreign investors invest in the Vietnam stock market through the ETFs, they will mostly invest in HPG. So this is also a short-term catalyst of HPG to support the stock price in the near term. And lastly, we also recommend buying the VN Diamond stocks, especially the companies which have high potential growth in 2025 and 2026. These companies are also expected to benefit from a fresh money flow of foreign investors. Most of these names have the foreign ownership limit, so it is quite difficult for foreign investors to acquire large quantities of these names. So if you are a foreign investors, you may invest in the VM Diamond ETF instead. So you invest in VN Diamond ETF as a proxy, so that you can you can own all of these names instead of buying these 7 names. So okay, that wraps up my second part about the KRX trading system and potential market upgrade. Now, please welcome to the stage Mr. Tín Võ, Wealth Manager of agency and banking sector expert. Mr. Tín, please share your thoughts about monetary policy.
Thank you, Mr. Phú, and welcome to Ho Chi Minh Security Corporation. I'm Tín. I'm the wealth manager of Ho Chi Minh Security. So, as you hear about Phú talk before, and we have the GDP growth rate of 8% and more, but we opened the year of 2025 with some challenge, like the US tariff, the slower trade, and the Ukraine of the war. So, but the VN index increased from 1,230 to 1,330, over 100 points. We see that it is very positive in Vietnam. And to get more of 8% in GDP growth rate in this year, the State Bank of Vietnam will have the credit growth target of 16%. We can easily calculate here the double time of the GDP growth rate. And with some data very positive, that is we control the inflation. We have the CPI of February 2025 around 3.3%, and it's slightly down from 3.7% in last year. We have the retail sale of 95%, and it's increased more from 8% in last year. We have the FDI strong, and the disbursement of 35%, and the commitment is 5%. As you know, the FDI strong, it helps Vietnam Dong to stay stable with the USD, and it is the commitment of the foreign investor in Vietnam economy. We have the stock market capitalization around $300 billion. It's around half of the credit balance, around $600 billion, and around 70% of the GDP. As you see that the stock market capitalization is $300 billion. It is half. So in this year, 2025, the credit balance increased from $600 billion to $700 billion, increased 16%. So the stock market will be supported. This is the 2025 target of 16%. It is the highest of the credit growth rate in the recent year. So move on to the next. And with that reason, so we choose a lot of corporate banking here. We have ACB, BIDV, Vietcombank, SG Bank. We have a lot of bank here. We cover it. But in my opinion, I choose VB Bank, SG Bank, and Techcombank because it is the highest NIM in the banking system. In here, you can see very clearly that VB Bank had increased 85% in 2024, and the SG Bank increased 28%. The Techcombank increased 20%. And we have some story of the bank. With SG Bank, we have the story of the strategic shareholder in this year. With the Techcombank, we have the TCBS IPO, and with the VPBank, we have the valuation very cheap right now. So, and to be clear, this is the reason why I choose three stocks. With the SB Bank, we have a return on equity around 25%. That is the commitment of this bank to the market, because over the 5 year, 10 year, they increase around return on equity over 20% year over year. The profit before tax in 20 and 25 is $800 million and increase 25% year over year. They take the Vicky Bank. Vicky Bank is the name after the Đông Á Bank. When they take from zero down, when the ST Bank they take the Vicky Bank, they have the increase 49% of the foreign room, and they look for the strategic shareholder, and they have the license. And as you know, in Vietnam right now, we cannot open a bank. So a license of the bank is very, very valuation. And with the foreign room increase to 49% like PB Bank, they can look for the strategic shareholder with the high price. Example, when they find a strategic, like in VD Bank, the SMBC is the strategic shareholder, and when they buy a stock of VB Bank, they buy at the $35,000. At that time, the stock market, the stock price of the VB Bank is $20,000. So it increase like the double price. So SB Bank will have the room for the price to increase. To VB Bank. VB Bank had the highest NIM. The NIM right here, NIM is the net interest margin. To example, you go to the bank and deposit at 5%, and the bank loan to their customer to 9%. So you will have the NIM is around 4%. So VB Bank has the highest NIM in the banking system, and the profit before tax in 20 and 25 around $1 billion, increase 25%. They have the FE credit, and the FE credit after transformation they increase to 5 billion Vietnam dong, and they have the dividend yield high. Like in the 20 and 24, they pay the dividend 1,000 dong when the market price is 19,000 dong. So the dividend yield around more than 5%. And the Techcombank, they have some key. I like it. Like the high CASA. CASA is the current account and saving account that they have to Techcombank to the lowest cost of fund, around 3.3%. They have material home, and they have the TCBS story of the IPO in this year. TCBS is the king of bond in Vietnam. So Ho Chi Minh Security Corporation, we have the research room, and we see that VB Bank now is 19.5 thousand, and the target price we evaluate is 23,000, and upside is 18%. The second bank we have here, the low price of the recent day is 27.3 thousand, and the target of SSC research is 31,000, increase 13%, and the ST Bank is the close price 23, and now we have the target is 27,000, and we have the upside is 17%. They all have the story in this year, and to in my opinion, the banking sector will be increased very strong in this year. So I like it, and I'm very strong recommendation you to buy the bank in Vietnam in today. So thank you so much, and we move to the next part.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Tin, for your sharing on monetary policy and banking sectors. So, how do you feel about the banks? Okay, very positive. We have talked about three main investment themes that are macro investment themes, and besides that, we think there are some other potential story, other sectors of these stocks, so that we want to we also want to recommend you to invest in these stocks in 2025 and longer term. We will use a bottom-up approach and select just a few companies that have strong fundamentals and interesting stories and cheap valuations to screen out these 5 names. All right. The first name is FPT, which is the best technology company in Vietnam and likely the only choice of foreign investors when invest in Vietnam technology sector. FPT has a very strong talent pool, and it has many sectors that are focusing on high growth. And they also benefiting from the government's strategies on developing the semiconductor sectors. So these catalysts will bring a lot of benefit to FPT in the next 2 or 3 years. And FPT is also growing on digital exchange and the AI trend. Although the stock is experiencing a short-term sell-off of the AI and technology stocks, however, we think that the sell-off is just a short-term, and we recommend buy when stock weaken, buy the dip. The second name is DGC, Đức Giang Chemicals. So Đức Giang Chemicals is the largest yellow phosphorus and likely the largest chemical producer in Vietnam. And the core product of DGC is yellow phosphorus, which is a very important ingredient of semiconductor manufacturing. DGC is the main supplier of semiconductor manufacturers in Asia, except China. And this position helped DGC to grow on the very hot industry, semiconductor. And also, DGC is also actively developing and increasing their capability, their product capability by acquiring new factories and open new factories and open some new lines of products. So besides yellow phosphorus, DGC is also producing other chemicals. This stock is a large ancillary play on the global semiconductor industry. And although this stock is a chemical company, but it is a technology play. So I want to highlight FPT and DGC for technology play. And my last 3 names are consumer and retail companies. Masan Group, MSN, Mobile World Group, MWG, and P&J. So all in all, we forecast Vietnam consumption demand to recover in 2025. In the first and second quarter, the recovery will likely be mild. around 8% in the first quarter and second quarter, but the consumption demand will recover and increase significantly in the third quarter and the fourth quarter of 2025 and continue to grow in 2026 from 20% to 50% per year. All right. So that wraps up our presentation on investment themes and stock selections. We know that you have a lot of questions. Please join our community on LinkedIn and on WhatsApp to send your question to our experts. And also, we will send you any update on the sectors and the stocks that we mentioned during our presentation. So please scan the QR code to join our communities and stay updated. If you want to open an account and start investing in Vietnam stock market, please contact our account manager, or you can scan the QR code if you are Vietnamese citizen to open the stock investment account. Thank you again for attending the seminar today, and we hope that you will invest successfully and happily in Vietnam stock market. And see you again in the next seminar. Thank you and goodbye.